Hello everyone, welcome to chemistry class. This is the part 3 for chapter number 1. We were discussing the chapter 1 matter and its composition. And the topics we have completed till now are what is matter. We have discussed the different types of matter, solid, liquid and gas, and their cause of difference, that is intermolecular force and intermolecular space. Then we have seen all the physical properties, and till the last class we have seen the changes in the state of matter, that is how solid to liquid, liquid to gas, and vice versa change in state of matter is done. Today we will discuss about the composition of matter, that is the last topic of this chapter. We will learn about how atoms and molecule join together to form matter. Also we will have a revision test for the chapter number 1 at the end of this lecture. We will also have an additional video today that will be an explanation of the revision test questions that will be given in the test. So next video will be an explanation for those questions. Let us begin today's class. So here we have the topic, the composition of matter. We've been learning about matter and it is shown in 3 states, that is solid, liquid and gas. Now what this matter is made up of? The answer is matter is ultimately composed of elements. Yes, different types of molecules are there, and those molecules are actually what? They are actually made up of elements. So element definition, you have to remember what is an element now. The element is any substance which cannot be split or broken down. Split means broken down. So anything which cannot be broken down into smaller or simpler substances by chemical means or chemical reaction. If we do any chemical reaction, then we will not be able to break the element into smaller parts. That is what it says. For example, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and so on. More than 100 elements are there, and these are what? These are those substances which cannot be broken down by a chemical means. Next thing, these elements are represented. To show these elements or to write these elements, we have certain symbols. Instead of writing the full name or the full spelling, we can write them with the help of symbols. For example, hydrogen, instead of writing the full name, we can write only H. Capital H in chemistry represents what? It represents hydrogen. Similarly, we can write N for nitrogen, or we can write O for oxygen, we can write C for carbon, and so on. So there is a usage of symbols in regard to elements. Elements are represented by symbols. These things you have to remember. Next, now when these elements combine together, different types of elements or same types of element also. So these elements combine together, and what is forming is called as compound. Different elements can combine, and what we are getting is called as a compound. For example, water is a compound, and water is made up of two things, that is hydrogen and oxygen. So hydrogen element plus oxygen as an element, what we will get is we will get water, and water is a compound. If we want to break this into two parts, that is compound, if we want to break, then it is possible. Element we cannot break into parts, but compound we can break into smaller parts, and those smaller parts are called as elements. Compound can be broken down into smaller parts. That is in the definition also given here. Let us read. A compound is a substance that can be split into simple substance by chemical means. Both the definition, if we compare, only one word difference is there. There in element we were reading cannot be split, here we are reading can be split. So if something can be split by chemical means, it is compound. If something cannot be split by chemical means, it is an element. Let us come to the next part. If we go on subdividing an element, if we want to subdivide an element, we will come to a part that cannot be divided any further, and that smaller part of an element is called as an atom. So an atom is the smallest part of a chemical reaction. That is the definition also for atom. It is the smallest part of the element that takes part in a chemical reaction, and this atom cannot exist independently. Means one atom cannot remain alone, it has to combine with any other atom. Generally it combines with any other atom, it cannot remain independent. Let us have some example. For example, different atoms of hydrogen atoms join together, and what we are getting, see here two atoms are there, they are joining together, we will get H2. That will be a molecule. So hydrogen molecule is formed by combining of different atoms of hydrogen. So this is what this element is made up of. Element is subdivided into smaller atoms. The definition of atom you have to learn. The next topic now here is molecule. Now different atoms can combine together. Different atoms can combine together to form molecule. Example already I told you. Hydrogen atoms join to form hydrogen molecule. Similarly, oxygen atoms will join to form oxygen molecule and so on. So different atoms join together to form molecule. Next thing now, a molecule of a compound is made up of atoms of different elements. For example, water. Just now we have seen about water. So water is made up of different elements and there are atoms of different things. What things are there? One thing is atoms of hydrogen are there, then atoms of oxygen are there. So this compound, the compound that is water, it is made up of atoms of different elements. So that is what they are saying. The definition we will read now about molecule. What is a molecule actually now? A molecule is the smallest part of the element or a compound that is capable of independent existence. Let us have a look on the definition of atom again. Here you see it is also the smallest part, but here they have written it does not exist independently. Means atom cannot remain independent, but molecule can remain independent. Molecule is that smallest part which can remain independent. It can remain alone. For example, H2, it is a molecule, it can remain alone. But H, it is an atom, it cannot remain alone or independent. That is what the difference is between atoms and molecule. Different atom join and what we will get is molecule. Molecule can remain independent and atom cannot remain independent. We can write the the molecule by the use of chemical formula. This H2 is what? It is the chemical formula. H2O, it is the chemical formula of water. CO2, it is the chemical formula of carbon dioxide. So all these are chemical formulas of what? These are different molecules of different things. So different compounds can be represented by this method, or we can say different molecules can be represented by chemical formulas. And what this formula is showing us, it indicates the number of atoms that are constituting the molecule. Simple one. This, for example, carbon dioxide. Here C. After C, no number is not written here. At this place here, nothing is written. So that means what? That means only one atom of carbon is there. And here after O, what is written is 2. That means 2 atoms of oxygen is there. So CO2 is made up of 1 atom of carbon and 2 atom of oxygen. So this is what is shown by the chemical formula. And one more example we can take. For example, H2O. After H2 is written, that means 2 atoms of hydrogen. After O, nothing is there. That means 1 atom of oxygen. So this is how the chemical formula is telling us the number of atoms. It is showing how many atoms are present of which particular element. Next, now the last topic is different atoms, different molecules are joining together. That we have seen. Elements join together, different elements join together, what we are getting? Compound. Different atoms join together, what we are getting? Molecule. This we have seen. But what is that thing that is joining these things? Something should be there to join different atoms, different molecules. That thing with that force of attraction is there. Something is there. So that force of attraction which is holding these atoms together is called what? It is called a chemical bond. It is called a chemical bond. Chemical bond is a force of attraction between the different atoms of the molecule. So different atoms are joined by what? Atoms are joined by chemical bond. Another thing, now molecules. The molecules are held together by what? The molecules are held together by intermolecular force. We have already learned in the starting of the chapter in solid, liquid, gas. Different types of intermolecular force are there. Solids are having maximum intermolecular force, so they are tightly packed. So that is between the molecules. So among the molecules, we are having intermolecular force. Among the atoms, we are having chemical bond. Both the things are different. Atoms are not having intermolecular force. Atoms have chemical bond. They are not having intermolecular force. But the the molecules are having this force. They are having this intermolecular force. So this thing you have to note down. Atoms have chemical bond in between them. Molecules have intermolecular force in between them. Now the question arises, which one is more stronger? Which one is more stronger, chemical bond or intermolecular force? Let us read here. A chemical bond is much stronger than the intermolecular force. You can underline this in your book as well. A chemical bond is more stronger. So this thing you will remember. Atoms in a molecule are held far more strongly than the molecules in matter. Atoms are more tightly packed because of the chemical bond, but the molecules can be little bit loose. That is why they can change from solid to liquid, liquid to gas. They are not that much strong force. So that is what is being told about the atoms and molecules. So this is all for this chapter. Here we unwind up this chapter. We will now move on to the remaining questions section. The long questions are remaining that we will have a look on. You can note them down in your notebook. So here we are with the long answers. First one, explain ice-water interconversion on the basis of intermolecular force. So ice to water, how it changes? You can note down the answer. In the ice, the molecules vibrate, and on heating, what will happen? On heating, the molecules of ice will receive the energy from outside, and their vibration will become stronger. It will be more stronger. As a result, what happens? The strong cohesion of the solid will be broken down, and molecules become labile. Labile means they start moving from one place to another, and solid melts down. Next, now discuss why the shape of solid is fixed whereas that of liquid and gas is not. So in the solids, the shape of the substance is fixed because the molecules are tightly packed and they cannot move. But in the liquid, what is there? In the liquid, the molecules are not tightly packed, and in the gas, the intermolecular force is very, very weak, and molecules are free to move in any part of the container. That is why liquid and gases are not having fixed shape. Third one, why is solid not compressible but a gas is? A solid is not compressible. We cannot compress it because of the intermolecular space in the solid is very, very small, and gas we can compress. Why? Because that intermolecular space is largest in the gas. Maximum space is there. So if space of this between the molecules increases, what will happen? The molecules can be pushed each other very easily. It can be done. Question number 4. This is typically long. Here we have to describe activities. 3 activities we have to show about thermal expansion of solid, liquid and gas. So 3 activities. One for solid is there here. Next one liquid, and then third one is for gas. All these 3 activities you have to note down. Already I have explained these in the class time. And what is happening on contraction? Contraction happens on cooling. And what happens when we cool down any state of matter? The molecules which are present in that state of matter, it can be solid, liquid or gas. On cooling, the molecules will come to their original position. They will come close to each other. Here we have the book exercise. The answers have been mentioned. Choose the correct options. You can note down in your book. Next, fill in the blanks. The first one, the space anything occupies is called. It is volume. Volume is the space required for anything. Second, the amount of matter anything contains. That is called as mass. Third, matter exists in 3 states. We already know how many states are there. 3. Next, the melting point of solid is same as the dash point of liquid. So melting point of solid is equal to freezing point of liquid. So answer is freezing. The fifth one, an element is the substance that cannot be broken. Here the word cannot be broken is there. So answer will be element. And the sixth one, same definition, only the difference is can be broken. So the substance which can be broken by chemical means is compound. So sixth answer is compound. 7. The molecule of an element is made up of atoms of dash kind. They are of same kind. In a particular molecule of element, atoms are of same kind. For example, hydrogen molecule. It is having only hydrogen atoms. The 8th answer now, a molecule of dash is made of atoms of different kinds. So different kind atoms are in compound. Next one now, true and false. First, matter is made of very small particles called atom, which are held together by intermolecular force. See, matter is made up of molecules, it is not made up of atom. So because of this word atom, it is wrong here, it should be molecules. That is why answer comes to be false. Next one now, the greater the intermolecular space, the greater the cohesion. So if the space is maximum, then what will happen? More space means less attraction. So that is why it is false. Next, the melting point of ice is the freezing point of water. Yes, it is true. Melting point of ice is 0 degrees Celsius and freezing point of water is also 0 degrees Celsius. So both are same. That is why it is true. Next, the atoms are held together in a molecule by a force called chemical bond. So atoms are held together by chemical bond. Yes, it is true. And what about molecules? Molecules are held by intermolecular force. Next, fifth now, the chemical bonds are stronger than the intermolecular force. So is this so? Yes, answer is true. Chemical bonds are more stronger than the intermolecular force. That force of attraction is not as strong as the chemical bond. That's all for this chapter number 1. It completes here. Now we will move on to a revision assignment that is for you to solve and check out how much you have learned. So here is the revision assignment. You can see the questions here. It is total 20 marks. First is choose the correct options. These are 5 questions are there. Find out the correct answer. Next is fill in the blanks. 5 parts for this as well. Next is true and false. And last one, we have some short questions. Answer the following questions. Take a note of these questions and try to solve. Be honest with yourself and do whatever you remember.